As a kid, you wish someday to get that dream job. An actor, a doctor, a musician, whatever it may be. And it comes, of course, with that hot car. As you get older, however, the dream is still alive, but your priorities may seem to change a little bit. You find yourself happily no longer single, and if you're lucky, maybe a pair of kids. Now, you don't want to let go of that dream, of course. In fact, don't you ever let go of that dream. But with all things considered, right now might not be the best time to entertain a two-door sports car. Maybe you want to entertain something with 4 doors that leads you in the right direction, a starting point, if you will. Well, folks, for your consideration, the BMW 318d. Now, if you're facing it head-on or see its reflection in your rear-view mirror, you know that it's a BM. If the current DRLs and headlamps don't give it away, then the very iconic 2 grills surely will. Now, keeping with its traditional design is a long bonnet with short overhangs. Makes the car look great, doesn't it? As does too this cut that can be found down the side, almost the entire length of the car, which I quite like, really. Not as much though as the 18-inch mags that it sits on, and it's also got this concave to it, like a black hole is gently sucking it in, making its already wide tires even more pronounced. Speaking of which, those guys are 225/45s, run flats. So, if you want to make like Hollywood and rob a bank in style, just saying. The rear is very well shaped. It's got 2 dimples. It's very athletic, it's very tight. It seems as if it defies gravity. Seriously, dude. Come on, concentrate. Junk in the trunk, boot space, there's 480 liters in there, which means that you can easily fit 2 to maybe even 3 golf bags with ease. Also, there is an anti-Vincent treachery latch in there, so if he ever puts me back in there again, I can easily get out up front. There are 6 airbags found all around the car, 2 of which are dedicated for here in the back. You've got your center armrest here with 2 cup holders. You got your 2 air vents, your 1 12-volt socket, and enough room for 2 large adults back here. Your 5th passenger, the one that sits in the middle, could be a little shorter, like myself. They still will need to compromise for the tunnel found in the middle. The one thing that nobody in the car will need to compromise for is the air. Because in the Philippine heat, with this leather and no tint, the air of this car is choice. Not much toys though, I gotta say. For instance, there is no cruise control, only a speed limiter. Now there are reverse sensors and a detection field pops up on the screen when you are parking, but there is no reverse camera. Now at this price point, those are some of the things that you kinda expect. The 4-gauge cluster adds an air of sophistication to the car, as do the tactile knobs for the radio, for the air, for your drive modes, and the iDrive. Now the gear lever is something I actually like. It resembles not the one a driver, more like a 7 would. Yeah, that's about right, a 7 would. It's very ergonomic. I like it. When Vincent and I first took this 318d out, we remarked on how smooth the ride was, and we casually agreed that, well, it's a BM, you'd expect that. But then it clicked. We realized that we're sitting on 45 series tires, and it's still that smooth? That's pretty good. How then does it feel when you're out of the city and you want to play a little bit? Well, it's still very responsive when going around bends. There's a little bit of body roll when you feel like Nürburgring and your right foot turns into lead. There are no paddle shifters, so if you want to change gears, you do so with the 7-wood located down here, which is reminiscent to manual gearboxes, which I guess is bagay because it does have a manual parking brake. Although I wish that the options were given to you. That'd have been nice. Overall though, it is still a joy to drive, which is what the 3 Series is very much known for. Oh, and with fuel prices hovering somewhere up in the stratosphere, you'll want to know that this rear-wheel drive is powered by a 2-liter 8-speed Steptronic that pushes out 150 horses and 320 Newton-meters of torque. And it's a diesel, with which we were able to clock up 9.9 kilometers per liter in and out of the city. Combined, I mean. And when I say combined, that means coming up to the mountains, coming from traffic that it took us 2 hours to travel 20 kilometers. Yay, fun. We were able to achieve those figures on comfort mode. A notch up in savings is Eco Pro mode. Now in Eco Pro mode, what the car does is that it stiffens the throttle so that you adjust naturally your driving style. The air conditioning is regulated so that it saves on power. The gearbox shifts to a higher gear as soon as possible, and the automatic start-stop function is activated, which I'm still not a fan of. But according to BMW, when all of these systems are in play, it can save you up to 20% on your fuel. Now, to an average Joe like myself, living in a time where fuel is actually more expensive than beer, that system, well, it's all kinds of awesome. Now, just because there's a comfort mode and an Eco Pro mode doesn't mean that there's no fun side to this BM. Not at all. There is, of course, the Sport mode, and you can turn the traction control off for, well, a little bit of fun. It's clean, it's cut, it lives on a good diet, and it looks like $1 million. Okay, maybe slightly more than $1 million. 3,550,000 Philippine pesos to be exact. Now I get it, I understand, not everyone can or will want to dabble in Bavarian engineering. I can't play that game, I admit it, and I'm okay with that. But if your passion for the brand is what drives you to get that much closer to your goal, then sitting behind the wheel of BMW's best-selling series is not a bad place to be.